Hi guys, so I hope you like the little diorama I've made here. It's very much Mad Max sort of theme and definitely post-apocalyptic sort of style to it, which I absolutely love. And I got these two guys on the bike from the campaign Revenants Run, and it's by iDemo Games, and all the miniatures you're about to see were sculpted by Lazy Squire Games. And there's also a link to where you can get hold of 2 free STLs from iDemo Games, just so you can see the quality in these. And as I say, the amount of miniatures they've got coming out is just, well, it's amazing. And as well as obviously you've just been able to print these out for your own sort of like tabletop games, as I'll be using some of these for some kill teams, this is also one-page rules compatible with cards for 2 full factions. So as you can see on the screen, obviously all the miniatures do have corresponding cards with all the stats for the figures, which is just great. And the great thing with this campaign is you don't need to have a 3D printer. You can get the miniatures sent to you, which is just awesome. So I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to iDemo Games, because obviously they are sponsoring this channel, and I say I am getting early access to lots of miniatures, which is, well, why I love my job. Not that anyone could call this a job, as I'm just a big kid messing about, 3D printing and playing sort of war games really. So if you do have a 3D printer, then, well, like me, you can have a go at printing out the miniatures yourself. As you can see, it comes in parts, fully supported, which is just awesome. And it does include the base, but as you would have seen, I've made a little diorama, so I didn't actually, well, I didn't need the base that came with it, as I wanted to have a little bit of fun with some other things. So yeah, as always, the quality of their miniatures is just amazing. And if you obviously paint like me, the good old slap chop painting technique, yeah, these do really well with that, because there is so much detail in the miniatures that yeah, they just look awesome when painted, and it's so easy to paint them. So yeah, I must admit I do love the guys on bikes as well. They kind of give me a Judge Dredd sort of feel, especially with a big old chunky tyre there. But obviously this one's got the extra guy on the back that can definitely take out a few people walking along the sidewalk. So whenever I do a 3D print, I am going to sort of show the resin that I use, just because there's so many different types of resin out there, and obviously they all have different kind of qualities. So as you can see, I'm using my Elegoo Mars 3 printer, and I'm also using the Elegoo standard grey resin that comes with it. And yeah, definitely a good all-round resin, this one, for sort of miniatures, terrain, and, well, anything you want to print out really. So just a couple of hours later, and yeah, I've got my miniature. I've assembled it. Obviously, it only came in a few bits, so that wasn't difficult. Primed in black, grey, dry brushed in white, and as you can see, obviously on my little paint pot or paint miniature holder, with a little plastic tube in there to keep it off the base, just so I can sort of get to the underneath bits, which is pretty cool. But yeah, definitely you can see all the definition in this little miniature once it is dry brushed, which is just great. So this is where I do have some problems, is deciding what colour to paint sort of Space Marine type dudes. I kind of get bored obviously with this generic sort of blue, and that's why I've gone with this green, just because I want these guys to look more, well, more army, infantry, sort of frontline dudes, and obviously kind of like a bit of camouflage as well, I guess. And I'm using the Army Painter Speed Paint Forest Sprite for this one, and this is one of my favourite greens. Well, I say favourite green, I think I've got about top 5 favourite greens that I like to use on orcs, and this is definitely one of them, as it goes on really well. And yeah, this definitely dries really nicely, as in you get sort of like the darker looking areas, well obviously where it's black, and then yeah, normal area, and then obviously highlights, which is just great. And it definitely seems to have like an army camouflage sort of look to it, which is cool. And that's why I decided to obviously paint the majority of the vehicle green, as well as obviously the guys, although I use a bit of a different colour green on those. And yeah, I want to use a bit of brown in here. So I had considered trying to do sort of like the old camouflaged painting on this, but I've never done that before, and I kind of thought I would ruin it. So I might need to do some tester bits and try and do like the old camouflage, well, swirls and sort of cowl sort of pattern. But yeah, so in this one I just kept it reasonably neat and tidy. But yeah, add a bit of brown in there as well, and also some copper, which yeah, which I think really goes well together. So again, obviously this didn't take too long to paint. Obviously nothing really seems to take long to paint doing the slap chop technique. It is nice, simple, easy, and yeah, again, I just love the results. And as I always say, this isn't for everyone, this kind of style. you might prefer sort of building up layers and doing more highlights and all the rest of it. But yeah, this is where we are all different, and we all have different sort of, well, different likes when it comes to how we want our miniatures to look. But for me, yeah, I definitely pleased with how this came out. And I say the green, yeah, I've only ever really used this green on, well, orcs. But yeah, I do like it on this this miniature, this vehicle. I think it's come out really well. Obviously, if you're doing like a big tank with big sort of large flat areas, then yeah, the speed paint I don't think work too well on flat areas, especially if it starts drying as you're painting. But obviously this has only got small panels, and yeah, I think it's come out looking, well, looking pretty good, and I'm certainly happy and pleased with this little diorama. So yeah, as always, this sort of diorama, it will be on my eBay page once I get around to linking it. So yeah, so if you want to sort of own this little diorama, then yeah, check out the eBay link down below. And yeah, guys, don't forget to check out the Revenants Run link down below. So they've got a campaign running. There's only a few days left to sort of get in on it. Obviously, you can still get in on it at a later date, I assume. But yeah, if you get in early, and say their miniatures, I'm very lucky that I was obviously able to get hold of a lot of their miniatures. Well, sort of like not like a pre-release, but yeah, before the general public. Apologies here. This is where I go into my own wibbly wobbly world of painting. I forget I'm filming, and yeah, I forget where the camera is, even though the camera is literally right in front of my face. I think that's why I forget, because I kind of like lean over the camera to obviously see to see what I'm doing. Yeah, I just love painting, and I am painting every day. I don't know, a good 2-3 hours, if not more, every day, just because, well, I love the painting. So charming, I can never say this, chartreuse. Yeah, this is in my top sort of top 5 of greens. I say top 5 because I think I've got about 13 different greens that I can use. So yeah, so being in the top 5 is pretty good. So again, yeah, this one obviously a little bit subtly different from the last one, and this one is another one that I do like using on my orcs. Yeah, so with the armour, again, I wasn't too sure what I was going to do with the armour, so I just thought go over the whole thing in the green, and then I pick out a few areas, because they have got sort of well, little straps here and there on their armour. So I do go over those with like a cream colour. Their eye slots, I do a little bit of red in there, and that's kind of it. So I kept them nice and simple, just because again I wanted to sort of almost be like camouflaged in a kind of way. And then yeah, then a good old case of using transfers. Although some transfers come off better than others, as you can see, had a few technical issues here. Even though I had put it in water for quite a while, it didn't want to come off. So we tried that again, put it in some more water, and then yeah, fingers crossed it comes off. Although it still didn't quite come off, so I had to kind of like get the blade underneath. Yeah, which seemed to do the job. Again, I am getting hold of a load of new transfers soon, because obviously all the transfers you'll see me using currently are from sort of Warhammer sets. But I want some more sort of like generic ones for vehicles and terrain and all the rest. So yeah, so look out for, well, loads more transfers coming soon. Obviously the transfers look far too neat and tidy, so they need a bit of dirtying up. Good old little bit of a wash, just dab here and there. And yeah, nice and simple. Looks good, and again, I'd say I love bikes. I love the look of them. Definitely Judge Dredd, Mad Max, pretty awesome. So this the base, obviously the main diorama bit. I will leave a link down below to where you can get hold of this. It comes in parts. Obviously, I've glued it together and done a few bits to it. But yeah, all you can see is this diorama base bit is one set. Again, I will leave links down below to. Well, it's Mr. Modular. That is the guy who obviously does this sort of stuff. So yeah, keeping this nice and simple. As you can see, everything I do, I prime in black. Yeah, using the Colour Forge matte black, just because, well, it is a lovely matte black. So it goes on really well, and then just dries to this lovely matte black, which is really good. Keeping it fairly simple, as you can see. Bit of silver dry brushing over, well, funny enough, the bits that look like they're going to be metal. So yeah, nice and easy. And then yeah, I obviously haven't got transfers for the top bit, so I just went online, looked up post-apocalyptic sort of signs, as well as Revenants Run's logo. And I just printed them out on a bit of paper, cut them out, as you can clearly see on the screen. It does what it says on the tin. Yeah, cut them out and then sort of glued them on. Just because, again, I like the idea of, say, I keep coming back to Mad Max. I just loved Mad Max as a kid. Well, I did enjoy the more recent, well, I say recent film, still a fairly old film, but not as old as the original Mad Max with Mel Gibson. But yeah, I do like the sort of end of world sort of style. Again, I think that's why I like grimdark as well, just because it is down and dirty, weathered, beaten, battered. So yeah, so if you haven't got transfers, you can, say, just sort of print things out, and then yeah, a little bit of glue. Although, as you can see, I put on far too much and then had to try and take it off, just because I thought if I didn't take it off, it would like soak into the paper too much and make it too, well, I don't know, it might ruin it. So yeah, just a little bit of glue, unlike what I've done, and then yeah, just simply put the bits of paper on top, and there you go, nice and easy sort of transfer decals that really sort of suits, well, what it is you're doing. Again, this just looks like it's like a highway, well, obviously a very narrow highway, and rather than having normal signs to places, this is more warning sort of signs. And then I've kept the road pretty simple, really, just doing a bit of dry brushing with white. I had considered painting it black like tarmac, but then that would have been possibly too sort of dark. So yeah, I think just the white highlight looks good for that. And then yeah, around the outer edge, I've just gone with a simple brown, just to make it look, well, a bit sort of muddy, I guess. And to make the road look a bit more road-like, obviously I've given it some yellow lines down the either side. I was contemplating putting yellow lines down the middle, but as this is quite a narrow sort of piece, yeah, you wouldn't really get traffic going both ways. So yeah, just simple yellow lines either side, which yeah, gives it obviously an extra feel more of being, well, a road, I guess. And then to tie it all in, good old Dirty Down Rust. I absolutely love using this stuff, and yeah, I almost go out of my way to make things just so I can use it, because I just think it's amazing how this stuff works. Is just great, and yeah, obviously it helps the signs there, makes them look a little bit sort of dirty, rusty, and again, obviously this thing is meant to be post-apocalyptic. I do have problems saying that word, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it makes it look obviously like it's been decades since anything's been done, as everything has gone into wreck and ruin. And say when this stuff dries, it's just amazing. I love it. And then obviously the last little thing to do really is to make it look like it is sort of metal, or was metal, before it got so rusty over the top. Yeah, a little bit of dry brushing with some silver, just yeah, just gives it that feel of, well, rusty old metal. So I think it's time again to see some more glamour shots. A big thank you again to iDemo Games for sponsoring the video and giving me early access to, well, some absolute awesome miniatures, which I really enjoyed 3D printing and painting. So don't forget to click on their link and see more of the wonderful miniatures they do. So they do miniature, obviously, figures, they do some vehicles, and they also do some terrain, which is just amazing. So yeah, definitely worth checking them out, guys. Don't forget, this little diorama will be on my eBay if you want to own it. If you're mad enough, yeah, go ahead, check it out and bid. Okay, so yeah, big thank you to all my lovely patrons, as well as Chaos Cards and the Colour Forge, for helping support the channel each and every month. It really does help me out so much. There's another video on the screen. It'd be great if you could click on that, see more of what I do, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff. You guys all take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.